It's Friday night at the movies, and a World War II period piece goes up against Dancing Penguins. Even match. Who'll win the long holiday weekend at the box office? Well, to answer that question, we have a Rise News contributor and editor-in-chief of ShowBizCafe.com, Jack Rico.
How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Happy holidays.
Okay, I have to get it in. End of the week, end of the day, end of the show. Yes, and we're in our food coma from all that turkey eating.
Tell me about it. It's the best time to watch movies after that.
Absolutely, and then let the movie watch you after you drift off to sleep. Okay, so let's get started. So some pretty big movies coming out. Start with, I don't know how big this one is, but The Imitation Game.
The Imitation Game is probably the week's prestige film. It's probably one of the best films of 2014. This has Oscar bait all over it, and it's the dramatic portrayal of the life and work of the mathematical British genius Alan Turing. He's a historical figure, and many say that he's one of World War II's unsung heroes.
All right, let's take a look at a bit of The Imitation Game.
This war, we're not winning it. If you speak a word of what I'm about to show you, you will be executed for high treason.
It's beautiful. It's the greatest encryption device in history, and the Germans use it for all communications.
Everyone thinks Enigma is unbreakable.
Let me try, and we'll know for sure.
Mr. Turing, do you know how many died because of it?
I don't.
3, while we've been having this conversation.
Well, I like the trailer.
The trailer is fantastic, and I had a chance to see the film, and I have to tell you, if you were to ask me right now, which movie do you think is going to win the Oscar for the Best Picture of 2014, I'd probably say it's this film.
Ooh.
Simply because when you start looking at the filmmaking process, I always judge the films on where the weak links are, and I just really can't find many here. The true star and the highlight of this film is Benedict Cumberbatch, who gives probably a career-defining performance in this one. Most likely will be nominated for Best Picture. But then it's just that it's a period piece. It's fine acting. It's a classy musical score. It's a complex character with a lot of struggles. So when you start looking at that and everything at the end results really well, it's tough to be able to beat this film 1-to-1. And so there's other films coming out like Unbroken that might be able to beat it, but the press still has not seen it. So that's one of the big challenges in being the adversary for this film. It's extremely enjoyable. It's tense. It's complex. It's funny at times. It doesn't end necessarily well, but that's more historical than anything.
And it wouldn't be a period piece, especially in these last 6, 7, 8 years without Keira Knightley.
Yes.
She seems to be the queen of the period piece.
She seems to be the queen of the period piece with Atonement and all these other great movies. But I think, you know, her body of work has really sort of lessened as she's playing more friendly, more popular sort of romantic films. So she's really showing a lot of her versatility.
All right, so let's go from this highbrow. I don't know if you'd call this next one lowbrow. It's a whole different genre. Horrible Bosses 2.
Yeah, well, it's definitely not highbrow films. But, you know, just like the first one, it's about 3 guys who just do not like their boss. And in the first one, they wanted to murder their boss. And in this particular one, now they want to kidnap their boss.
Of course they do. Horrible Bosses 2.
This is about never having to work for anybody ever again.
Boom, marker drop.
Kidnapping.
That's kidnapping.
With one more P it is. That's kidnapping. I completely underestimated you guys.
Help me help you get revenge on my dad. I'm a little insulted. You only asked for $500,000 for me, and so I tacked on another 0.
500 million?
Wow, that's a ton.
5 million.
5 million.
Right.
This is a film that mostly is the jokes here are people in the cast members talking against each other, talking over each other, a lot of gibberish. It really highlights their inane silliness. They're kind of stupid, all of them. And, you know, at some point after the first half hour, it just really gets tiring. So whatever novelty they kind of brought to this really dies out probably a half hour in. So you're left with sort of recycled jokes for about an hour and a half. And it just gets a little boring, and you don't quite laugh as you should be laughing or be expected to be laughed. Now, the best thing is probably Jennifer Aniston. Just a very filthy mouth, which she's repeating her character from the first one. And that's probably the best part because of the contrast of the girl next door speaking with such obscenities that, you know, that does ultimately become very amusing.
Spoken like a true guy. All right, well, let's leave that one and go to the next one. I'm actually looking forward to this one, and that is the Penguins of Madagascar. I love these penguins.
Well, you know, the Madagascar films were all very good, and this is the spin-off of the penguins who think they're spies.
Yes.
So just to imagine James Bond meets, you know, the penguins of the animated universe. And so combined together, this is very frenetic, very fast, very punchline, very driven, very hyperactive. The thing about this is like sugar candy. Like, you know, when you eat too much, you're like on a high, and then when it starts coming down, you kind of start realizing that it's not
Hey, don't burst my bubble all about the penguins. Well, let's take a look at a little bit of the Penguins of Madagascar.
Skipper, we've got to be 5 miles up. That pretty much limits our options.
I make my own options.
Brilliant move, Skipper. But now we seem to be outside the play.
Well, kind of got caught up in the moment. Well, hindsight's 20/20.
Oh, why don't we catch that plane?
Bird strike. Log it.
I love those penguins.
For kids, it works. I mean, this is exactly what they're looking for. The problem is that parents are now used to the Toy Story sort of format, which is much more adult yet very entertaining for kids all at the same time. This doesn't necessarily hit the high notes for adults and parents. It's just way too infantile in terms of the jokes and everything else. But if you love your kids a lot, and this is like babysitting for the kids, this is like the perfect movie. Don't think that the adults will really take a lot out of this in terms of laughing and too much.
All right, I will manage my expectations then. All right, we got a big weekend ahead of us. A lot of movies to watch and a lot of food to digest. Jack Rico,
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thanks, Debbie. Happy holidays.
You too, thanks. Well, that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for joining us on this Friday after Thanksgiving. Hope you have a wonderful holiday weekend. We'll see you right back here on Monday for another edition of Arise America. I'm Debbie Turner-Bell. Have a good weekend.